Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. So, for context, part of this video was filmed last Sunday as a bit of an unboxing for the Tim Holtz Stamptember class, which, by the way, was absolutely amazing. So, we're going to start off with an unboxing and first impressions of the kit. And then we're going to dive into a couple of ideas that I had since the class that I wanted to explore. And we're also going to be taking a look at the latest release of Distress Oxide mini inks. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies you're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. So today is pretty exciting. Today is the day of the Tim Holtz and Simon Says Stamp Stamptember class. Of course, we've got a kit, and I am super excited to do a little preview right now and see what's in it. And then it will be class time. So let's take a look at what is in the box. So this is the box, and it is packed. So to start, we have a couple of nice paintbrushes. We have a mini mister, which I will need to fill up. We've got a water brush. Ooh, better fill that up too while we're at it. Okay, this is really cool. And I remember it was being talked about during the initial launch, collaboration with Ranger. So this is really neat. We've got a custom bottle of Distress glitter. I love the vintagey packaging, and that is going to be really cool. Love that. Then we have a lovely stamping block. It's got a nice rounded side that's going to feel really good for stamping. We have a little container of glossy accents. This is my favorite size of glossy accents to work with. So much easier to use, and I don't use a lot of glossy accents, so this is just the right amount so that it won't dry up on me. We have a whole bottle of Distress Spritz Hickory Smoke for lots of sparkly magic. That's awesome. I can never have enough of that. We've got some silver string. Can't remember what that's for, but nice. We've got some little sequins. These are so pretty. I love those, and there's so many in here. Candy, a necessity of crafting. We've got a brand new black soot full-size ink pad. That is just plain exciting because I'm kind of hard on my ink pad, especially black soot, because it is my go-to for stamping. I love my mini, but I've certainly put my full-size pad through the ringer, and you can tell that it's gotten some love. So I'm really happy to have a backup because you never know when you're going to need more ink. Very important. Then we got a set of Distress watercolor pencils. This is set number 6. So in the set we get Spun Sugar, Abandoned Coral, Lumberjack Plaid, Dried Marigold, Forest Moss, Bendled Sage, Broken China, Stormy Sky, Blueprint Sketch, Dusty Concord, Brushed Corduroy, and Lost Shadow. So we have a lovely set of distressed watercolors to play with. I do have the full set already, so I will be able to substitute in things if I happen to want maybe, say, Festive Berries. But this is a lovely vintagey palette to work with today. Now, let's get into this packet right here. And let's also just get the box out of the way. So in here, what do we have? It's been a while, so I can't quite remember everything that's included in the kit. All right, we've got some foam strips. We've got foam squares in 2 sizes, the large and the small. Love the Simon Says Stamp foam squares. They are so wonderful for giving cards dimension, and I love having these on hand. We've got some cardstock. Ooh, lovely silver envelope. That is so pretty. I really want to stamp snowflakes on this now. We have got some black Distress heavy stock. And we've got a handful of card bases. Let's see, we've got some red, nice blue, a green, and a white. Card bases are always useful and a great way to save a little time assembling your cards. All right, what else do we have here? We've got a whole bunch of distressed watercolor cardstock. So that should get us through class. If not, I've got more stashed in my paper caddy. We have a piece of clear acetate. Don't remember what it's for, but I'm betting there's a shaker thing involved. It's been a while since I watched the video, so I get to be surprised all over again. We've got 2 sheets of the distressed metallic craft stock, and now into the stamps and the dies. We've got a whole set of sentiments. These are the watercolor stamps. Those are gonna be so pretty. I can't wait to see what Tim has in store for us. Then we have the die cuts that match that, and these die cuts match these sentiments. I may need to pre-stamp a few of those just because. And then we have tags. Definitely going to want to, well, you know what? I don't really know what we're doing the tags, so I'm probably going to wait and see what needs to be done. And die cutting doesn't take that long. I'm all set up. And then we have more sentiments. I could pre-cut a few of these. I've got maybe 20 minutes before the live, so that could be one thing to do. Yeah, I think I will pre-die cut a few of these, but either way, we've got a lovely collection of items to play with. Can't wait for class, and sometime after class I will definitely be continuing to explore this set, and we'll pick up the video there for more crafty ideas, and I'll give this my own unique spin. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we are back, and what an absolutely amazing class with Tim Holtz and Heidi. I greatly enjoyed the class and had so much fun making so many things. So I just wanted to do a very quick recap of how class went and what we did before we dive into a few side tangents. So in the class, we created a whole bunch of die cuts, and I've now got die cuts for days to create all sorts of cards with. I'm very excited about this. So we also did some tags, and these are the 2 tags that I put together for class. I love the technique where we used the glossy accents and brushed on just a little bit so we could add a sprinkling of glitter to our embellishments. Very fun. I actually used some of the sequins as additional embellishments just to get a little bit of extra bling going. I'm loving all of the wintry colors, and the script is so fun. So these are the 2 tags that I did during class. I'm very happy with how they came out. And then the big project in class was the shaker card, and just look at all of that sparkle and all of the wonderful little shaky bits. So much fun. I am absolutely blown away, and I had a blast with the class. So thing is, now the class is over, what do we do? What are we going to make? Well, I'll tell you. We are going to be playing with distressed oxides today and the lovely stamp sets that came with the class. But first things first, we need to take a look at which oxides are now in the mini format. So let's bring those in. We're going to do a little sort and pile, and then we'll dive right in. We'll make a background, make some cards, and maybe a couple of other little embellishments. All right, let me get the oxides. For the distressed oxides, we have got a lovely new stash of colors to play with. And I am very excited because, as I said before, these are wonderful for travel. And when I travel, I like to have all of my supplies with me. And now I get to take my oxides with me, and I don't have to pick and choose only a few oxides to squeeze into my craft bag. All right. So let's just quickly put this in rainbow order, and let's go through the colors, and then we're going to sort them into the boxes. So we have got in this release Kitsch Flamingo, Saltwater Taffy, Candied Apple, Fired Brick, Dried Marigold, Ripe Persimmon, Wild Honey, Squeezed Lemonade, Twisted Citron, Rustic Wilderness, Evergreen Bough, Pine Needles, Speckled Egg, Tumble Glass, Mermaid Lagoon, Faded Jeans, Blueprint Sketch, Victorian Velvet, Dusty Concord, Old Paper, Frayed Burlap, Gathered Twigs, Ground Espresso, and Hickory smoke. So we've got lots and lots of colors. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly take these out of the packages. Ooh, that is a little bit stiff. And we can start putting them into the tins. I did get more of the ink tins, so that'd be a lot easier for me to file these when ready. There we go. So for now, these are going to remain in the order that I got them, but once I've had a chance to play with these brand new colors specifically in Mini, then I will resort my inky tins, because I really do prefer to have everything in, well, not really rainbow order, but distress order. I find it's easier to find stuff, but I haven't yet paired up my Oxide with my distress ink, because really I tend to use the Oxides more as a standalone for techniques and not nearly as often in conjunction with the distress ink. So for me, it's going to work better to keep them separate for now. Okay, so we've got our tin. Let's start putting some of these in here. I'm so happy with the colors. More beautiful things to play with. And we've got lots of festive colors here, so it'll be very easy to create a few fun backgrounds with the stamps that we have been looking at today. Okay. Ooh, we've got some really good greens for our boughs and leafy greens. That's going to be very convenient. Like, I definitely think pine needles is a very wintry color, and evergreen bough, of course, works very well as well. And then we got some lovely icy blues. So, lots and lots of options. And I'm thinking with the mini oxides now living on my desk, I'm probably going to be more likely to use them. Right now I have like a wonderful ink caddy, but it's kind of at a different table from my main crafting space. So I don't really get up and get my oxides too often unless I've like pre-planned a project and am thinking specifically that I need oxides for it. So this is just going to be creative convenience to have these a lot closer. I've got some space under my risers, and that means I'll be able to reach for the oxides just as often as I reach for my distress minis. Okay, packaging undone. Let's slip these into the containers. So again, this is just temporary order of storage. It's definitely going to change. But for now, this works very nicely. So I want to start off with some stamping, and I want to do two different backgrounds. One is going to be smudge stamping, and the other is going to be more of a watercolor stamping. So let's see here. Where did I stash my stamps? Right here. So we're going to start with these first, and in case you are wondering how I'm storing things now, I got rid of the plastic that the stamp sets came in, and I got these really nice sleeves from Simon Says Stamp. These are clear storage sleeves, and these are going to come into play at a later date. It's going to be important because I'm going to do something else with these, but they fit the stamps perfectly, of course, so we're going to be keeping them in here for easy creative convenience. All right, so I want to start with some watercolor paper. And I think I'm also going to want some Distress White heavy stock for the smudge technique. Okay, good. Got that. Now, I'm just going to scoot these inks back for the moment so we have a good clear shot of what we're doing. Got my paper, got an ink block. So I want to do a kind of botanical type background, and I've got my distress sprayer here. It's good to go. So in this case, well, there's two ways we could go about this. I could do a puddle stamping technique where I smush the ink out, give it a spray, and dip into it, but I kind of want to paint with the ink and just kind of rock back and forth to get my greens. I want this to be a little sloppy because this is definitely a background, and as they say, the background is in the background. So let's see what we can do. I want to mix my greens for sure. I want some rustic wilderness, and I want the pine. So I'm going to stamp directly onto the stamp, and then I will spray it with a dash of water, and then we'll stamp it out. I'm going to try to get at least 3 generations of stamping because I want the greens to look like they're at different levels in maybe a forest. Okay, I'm going to start with the lighter Distress Oxide. I'm just randomly tapping. No rhyme or reason, just tapping to get that down. And then we'll add a few accents with the pine needles. There we go. Just holding that up so you can see what we've done. We've got ink. So the next thing that I'm going to do, we're going to give this a very quick mist with the Distress Sprayer because I am going for a watercolor look. We're just going about it a different way, and I think with the Oxide, we're going to get some pretty cool results. So 2 sprays. That should be, ooh, maybe I need 3. 4. All right. Let's try that. And we're just going to kind of stamp. Oh, I need more water on that. That's a bit more solid than I was hoping for. So I gave that another 3 sprays. That's looking a bit more watery. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. So I think with the oxidization, we're going to get a really interesting effect. That's too bad that came out that crisp, but that's okay. We're just going to run with it. Ooh, I kind of think I can get a 4th on here. Why not? Let's just go for it. And we did. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We're going to wipe that stamp off, and let's grab another piece of greenery. I love the stamp set. There's just so much cool stuff going on and lots of choices. I love having choice. All right, so I've got this kind of floofy branch. That will be great. And let's switch our colors up just a little bit. I want the pine needles, but this time I want to add in a little bit of faded jeans. Kind of want to go for a little bit of a blue look. So again, just tapping a bit down with 1 ink pad, switching, and we'll tap and fill in the blanks with the other one. And this time we'll make sure we're a lot more generous when spraying with the water. Now we know. Okay, so pretty well inked, and we're going to do 2, I think. Yep, 2 was good this time. I went closer to the sprayer. Okay, so 1, and I'm not holding it down for very long. Just like what Tim said, you're kind of just touching and lifting. And I like the effect we're getting. I really love the oxides. The distress crayons are super cool, but the oxides are going to give us a different sort of look. There we go. And this is deliberately going to be a background. Very cool. I like it. Okay. Now, let's see. I want another leafy green. Oh, let's go for this one. It's a little bit more spiky. That's cool. And I want to go with some evergreen bough, and I think we'll mix that with a lighter green this time. Oh, these are really stiff. Wow, that's really stiff. Okay. So, tapping and switching. That's interesting. These are slightly stiffer than the last batch of mini oxides I got. I wonder why. But maybe the more I use them, the looser the lids will get. Because I am kind of fighting to get those lids off. All right. Now just a little bit of the Twisted Citron. Looks good. We'll give that a good spray just off the camera. Great. And let's just start adding. And just a light touch and a lift. Ooh, that one didn't come out as good. Let's see if I can't do that again. There, slightly better. And one more. Pretty good. I'm liking the way this is going. Now I really want like a little touch of red. So I want the plant with the berries on it. Okay. Now I think the magic with this one is going to really start happening once these start to dry. We're going to get a pretty interesting background. Okay, just turning that a hair. Good. So for this, let's see. I do want the rustic wilderness, but I have to be careful now about the little spots where I've got berries to watch out for. This will be interesting. I'm not sure if I'm just going to wipe off the areas where the berries are, or if I'm just going to try to carefully tap around them. Guess I'm going to play it by ear. All right. Not bad. Let's get some evergreen bough in here. Just tapping. Being a little careful. So far, so good. Okay, not bad. Now I'm going to very carefully go in with that little corner of red. And hopefully this won't make a big mess. Okay, just using that little edge here. Not bad. I think I am getting this pretty good. That looks really good. Okay. So we'll give that a generous spray and then we can stamp that out. There we go. All right. So it's totally okay if stuff is overlapping. It's going to look great. Okay, and I want one more. Really not bad. Ooh, I wonder if I can get one more. That really looks good. Not terrible at all. Okay, so now I just need a teeny tiny fill in the blanker, and this background is going to be done. And I kind of want to add just a hair of distress spritz over the top, maybe like a little sheen of gold. That could be really pretty. Ooh, and then I could do the border in gold after. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Lots of fun ideas to play with. Okay, I need a small fill in the blank piece. This one works. Very good. Stick that right on here. Okay, I really want a little bit of Dusty Concord and some pine needles. Great. Have to get a little purple in there. I'm trying to get all the winter colors. Great. And spray. So, there we go. Needs just a little bit more. For some reason, the Dusty Concord is really vibrant. Okay, good. Good, and great. I would call this background done. Very happy with that. I am loving the way it looks, but you know what? I want this a little bit more watercolor-like. I want just a bit more water. So we're gonna give that another good slow spray. I want this to move and I want it to bleed. Okay, great. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to dry this off and then we're going to add a dash of spritz. All right, our background is nice and dry and look at that. We got some really cool watercolor going on. So the next thing I want to do is add a small spray of spritz. And we're going to be using a little bit of fossilized amber. So let's give this a really good shake. Good, all mixed. And I'm going to move this back and let's see what we get. All right, I got some big droplets. That's just what I wanted. That is going to look great. All right, let's set this aside to dry, and then we're going to do one more background technique together. For our next technique, we are going to be doing some smudge stamping. So I'm bringing in a piece of Distress Mixed Media cardstock, and we're going to be pulling in 3 different Distress Oxides. I want to go with some Blueprint Sketch, Evergreen Bough, and some Dusty Concord. Now for each one of these, we're going to be using a separate stamp, and we also need a piece of foam to help us blend out the ink. So let's take our ink, we're going to tap, 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 make sure we have good coverage. And we're going to stamp our image down. And then, right away, we want to take that foam and smudge. And look at that. We're getting a beautiful little halo around the image that we have smudged. So I'm going to stamp this at least 4 more times, and then we'll switch over and start filling in the spaces with the other stamps. So we're just going to repeat, tap, stamp, smudge. I love this technique. It's pretty relaxing and it's pretty hard to mess up because this is a background and you're not even going to really notice it until we're done. All right, more ink, another stamp, and smudge. I just love that really soft halo, and it just gives such a really fun vibe. All right, one more. Then we can switch images. So you don't have to use the rectangular foam. You could just use a regular piece of dome foam or some of the flat foam. The main thing is you just want something to smudge with. Actually, you could probably use blending brushes too, like the really soft ones with the bristles. I don't have any, but I've heard that they could work for smudging. All right, so that's one stamped image. Let's go ahead and do some Blueprint Sketch next. Take that, set that on our block. I'm really loving this block, by the way. I just like the hand feel, and it's a good thickness too. I'm surprised. I've always been a fan of stamping tools and using the Tim Holtz blocks, which are great because I love all the different sizes, but this one is just really comfy in the hand. I'm gonna have to look around on Simon Says Stamp later and see if Janna K has any larger blocks. I am enjoying this quite a bit. Okay, stamp and smudge. Ooh, I like that. That's very pretty. Okay, and we'll want some more ink. Forgot the Blueprint Sketch is really, really vibrant, and that is showing up quite a bit. And smudge. There we go. Really building up that background here. I like it. More tap. Let's see here. That should work. There we go. Ooh. I'm absolutely loving the color combo we've got going. All right, I need to stamp this one more time and then we can switch to our last stamped image. Let's take that, move that here. Right now I'm kind of just filling in the blanks. I don't really have much of a rhyme or reason. I did try to space out the purple ones and now we're just filling in the spots. And it's totally okay if stuff overlaps. It's going to look good because the background is in the background. And we're not going to really see everything once we turn this into a card. There we go. Last stamp. And ink that up. Now I am just loving the stamp set and all of the materials that came with the class. There's so many things we could do, and I just don't have enough time to talk about all the things that I really want to do with the stamp set. So I thought I'd just share my top couple of ideas that I was absolutely dying to play with. It's like, believe me, I was thinking of these things like during the class, and it's like I had a little notepad. I was jotting down some ideas like, ooh, I have to try this later. Ooh, I wonder how this would work. And like oxides were right at the top of my brain for things that I wanted to see how they would go with these particular stamps. But I like that when creative ideas come, it's wonderful to have the chance to play with them. It's certainly better than the opposite, like those days when you can't be creative to save yourself. So when there's ideas, I love to have a little notepad and immediately write things down so I won't forget. Ooh, let's see, I want that here. Great. This is so good. I'm just loving the background. We're getting some fun layers going. And I really like the colors we picked. So I think I want a little bit here and here, maybe there, and we'll be able to call this done. Take that. That goes there. We're definitely getting into overlap now, but that's okay. That is absolutely planned. Overlap is good. Just gives more depth to what we're doing. And all right, I'm going to call that pretty much done. I just want to blend that out. Okay, yeah, I like it. So that is our blended background. So these were just two of the ideas that I wanted to play with. And now we're going to work on building some cards. And I've got all sorts of wonderful leftovers that we can play with. So let me gather the things and we're going to assemble. Okay, so this is the first background that we're going to work on. I decided to take one of the tags that I did in class and we're going to finish turning it into a card. So what I've done is I cut a piece of metallic craft stock. This is Ideology. And I cut it to 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And that's just the right size for me to put the banner tag on it. Now I want to grab some foam squares and we'll use those to place our tag. So just grabbing a few foam squares, just giving this a little bit of lift. Okay, and we'll take the backings off. All right, so we'll take that and we're going to line this up and carefully place this down. That's looking pretty good, and then this is going to go on to here, and I think we're going to attach that with some ATG tape. So let's just flip that over, run some tape right down the back of this, and then we'll finish off the card with something shiny. I absolutely love the little embellishments that came with the kit, and we've still got a whole bunch of these left over, so we're going to place those in the corners of our card. All right, that is pretty good. So I want a little dash of collage medium. I'm going to put a little drop in each corner. And I love how we already have our sentiment all done. I had stamped with the stamp set that had all the beautiful sentiments on it on the tag during class, so we don't even need to add a sentiment. All right, now I just want a couple of these sequins. I think we'll go with the largest ones. Just put one of those in each corner. All right, I have to shake a few out. There we go. That's 2. Here's 3. Now I just need one more, and this card will be complete. There we go, 4. I'll probably use more in the other card. I love these. I really love the little sequins. They're so shiny, and I do like a little bit of bling on my cards. Okay, this card is done. Let's take a look at our second option. So for the second card, I was thinking we could use this beautiful background that we did during class. I wanted to use that up. And we also took a moment to die cut a few words. There was some lovely sparkle craft stock in the kit, so I thought, why not? Let's use it and turn it into some sentiments. And I had some scraps of navy blue cardstock. So we're going to put winter wishes on here. We're going in portrait mode, not portrait, landscape, not my typical design for cards, but I thought it would be fun to switch things up just a little bit. And I want to tuck greens in and around the words. So let's see, I like that. We're going to kind of place them, and then I want to pop the words up with some foam squares, but I kind of want to figure out where all my greens are going first. So that's going to go here. This can go there. All right. Just kind of putting things down and trying to figure out where everything's going to be. All right, and then this could go over here. That'll give us a little bit of swishiness. Yeah, so far I'm liking that. Let's see. I think I want one of these over here. All right, just kind of trying to figure out where things are going. All right, I do know I want one of these over here. That'll be pretty. And why not? Let's add a pop of red. That could go there. Oh, my sentiment is trying to jump up. Okay. All right, so far I'm liking that. And that means I'm going to need a little bit, maybe a little sprig coming out here. And, let's see. I do have this, but I don't know. I think I might want something else. Ooh, I've got these. This will work. I can tuck one of these in over here. All right, much better. Okay, so I'm going to try to glue these down, and then we'll be able to turn our attention to our last background. Let's take that. Can go right here. Just lifting that up. And now a little bit of glue. We're just using some collage medium. Trying to get all of these little greens in place. Okay. That could go here. All right. I do want to place wishes down. Good. So I'm just quickly taking off the backings, and that will be set to place, and then we can take a look at the other ones. Okay, wishes. There. Not bad. Let's see. Let's take this greenery next. Just gonna put winter here for a moment just to see how I'm doing. Ooh, I want to bring that lower. I might have to trim some extra off the edges, then that will be okay. Yep, that works. Now I want that little bunch of berries. Just a little drizzle of glue. There we go. Great. And that could go there. And I want this piece as well. Ooh, I like that better. Okay. All right, now let's get those last few foam squares. And I think this one will be done as well, and we'll just need a little bit of trimming. All right, foam squares. Okay, and let's take these. Okay. That does not look too bad. We've got our winter wishes. Just shifting that down just a little bit. Great. Yeah, I like that. It's full of greens. And I'm just going to flip this over. I've got a little teeny tiny bit of trimming to do. And this card is complete. And another one done. All right, so we have this other background. This will be our last one. And I want to do something with a poinsettia. So I've got this really fun tag, and I want to tuck the poinsettia in, I think like that. And I also want to do a border of gold. That's the other main thing that I really, really want to do. So let's see what we've got. All right, so I have a panel of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I trimmed 1/8 of an inch off each side. So I want to put this on that beautiful gold background with some foam squares. We are creating a card with lift. Okay, that is good. So we'll just peel off those little backings. Great. And there we go. Let's go ahead and stick this down. That's going to look really nice. And the last thing I want to do is add another tag. So this one I also did during class. I die cut a few extra things while I had the chance and added in some of the lovely greens. My favorite combo from the class was doing some Dusty Concord with Blueprint Sketch, and I believe that is pine needles as well. I love the way these came out. And of course we had some lumberjack plaid for the red. All right, I want more foam squares, and we need to glue that poinsettia in. Poinsettia wasn't part of my original idea for the tag, but I wanted to add some more red into this card since we already have the red berries in the background. Okay, quickly taking off those little backing pieces. Only 2 more. There we go. Great. And let's flip that over. This goes right in the center. I love that as a focal point, and I wanted to tuck the poinsettia in as well. You know what? Let's move this up just a hair, so then the poinsettia will fit perfectly. All right, moving this. Oh, what would happen if I just flip this around? I don't like that as much. I want more of that red to show. Some of my foam squares tried to run away. Just try to get those back. Good. And just move that up a bit. I think that's good. Yes, and what I want to do is tuck this under here. What was I thinking? That? No. Kind of like this. Okay. And I'll need, or was it more like that? I think I like it better over the top. So I will need a couple more foam squares just to anchor that piece as well. So that's going to end up going here. We put foam, 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 and foam. That should give it enough support. Good. And let's tuck that right in. Okay. I am pretty happy with that. And that would complete our third card. So I'm just going to clear the table just a little bit, and let's take a look at what we created tonight. I had so much fun, and I'm glad I got to do a little bit of a class continued, since I had a whole bunch of ideas swirling around in my head that I just absolutely had to get out on paper. And bonus, I've used up more of the embellishments that I made during class, so I'm using the stash and having fun making. All right, so today we have created 3 cards featuring the Tim Holtz Simon Says Stamp Stamptember set, and I am thrilled with what we have been able to make. Here are the 3 cards that we've created today using the Simon Says Stamp Tim Holtz Stamptember stamp set and dies. I had so much fun in class, and with all the ideas just bursting through my head, I had to create more things. So this is my class continued video featuring some of the ideas that are running through my head. Now, the main thing that I wanted to investigate were the distress oxides. I know how water reactive distress oxides can be, and I wanted to see what sort of watercolored results we could get with them. And I gotta say, I am pretty happy. So we watercolor stamped with distress oxides, we smudge stamped with distress oxides, and we were able to put together these 3 cards using elements that we created during class. I am very happy with the results, and I hope that you've enjoyed today's play session. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner, and until next time, happy crafting!